Our Bible word is Genesis 4 verse 4. Abel also brought of the firstborn of his flock and of their fat, and the Lord respected Abel and his offering. So this is a story of Cain and Abel, the sons of Adam and Eve. And let's first look at the overall narrative of Genesis and how this fits in with a bigger picture. If we go to the beginning of Genesis, that's where God creates order from disorder. So we can say the creation of order. And from Genesis 1 to 2, God creates order from chaos. And then from chapter 2 verses 4 to verse 24, it speaks of Adam and Eve's priestly role in a sacred space. That's where they enjoy a protected and blessed or intimate relationship with God. So that's where God created order. But then there was descent into chaos. If we go to the rest of chapter 2 to chapter 3 verses 24, it's about the temptation and exile. This is where the first sin was committed. Adam and Eve's disobedience to God. So that's where things started going wrong. And from order, or the creation being in a state of order, it started descending into a state of chaos. But chaos increased because if you go to chapter 4, that's where Adam and Eve, they live now in exile. They were kicked out of the Garden of Eden. But this is also where we encounter the first murder. So there was the first sin, disobedience, and now it just becomes worse because now we encounter the first murder, where Cain murdered his brother Abel. And then if we go to Genesis 5 to 8, God speaks of the great wickedness of mankind. And this is about Noah and the flood, where God wants to get rid of all this wickedness on the earth. And then from Genesis 9 to 12 onwards, it's about a new beginning, where God wants to, things went wrong, so now let's start over. And he starts over with Noah and his family. And there was also a righteous line of descent from Noah, going all the way to Abram and Isaac and Jacob. So it's about making a new beginning. So it's creation of order that God did initially. Then there was a descent into chaos. That's where the story of Cain and Abel becomes relevant, because that's the first murder and a new beginning. And if we look at that descent into chaos, God accepted Abel's offering because we presume he did it in a state of righteousness. We can go read there in Hebrews 11 verses 4 that he was a righteous person. He was also the first righteous martyr. But of course his brother Cain wasn't happy that God didn't accept his sacrifice. But then God also addressed him in verse 7, if you do well, will you not be accepted? So God tells him, if your offering was done with a good attitude or in the right way, it would have been accepted. Then God also warns him, sin is at your door. You must rule over it. Don't let it master you. But Cain couldn't, and he brought his brother into the field where he killed him. And of course, God then banished him from the land, and Cain was also scared now people will kill him. But then the Lord also told him, no, I will protect you. If we go to verse 15, and the Lord said to him, therefore whoever kills Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark on Cain, lest anyone finding him should kill him. So God banishes him from the land, and he also puts a mark on him, also to ensure that he's not killed. And he also says there, if anybody kills him, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. Also take note, Cain had no remorse. He didn't say sorry. And he also said, am I my brother's keeper? So there was no remorse with him. So there was something also wrong with him fundamentally. His attitude was wrong. And this was the reason why God also rejected his offering. But his was the first murder. But from there, things just became worse and worse. Because if we go to chapter 4, verses 23 to 24, let's look at one of his descendants actually say. Now his descendant actually makes a mockery of what God said before, where God said, my vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. Listen to what 𝐸𝐼𝐴 says, one of his descendants. Because there he boasts about killing people. If Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, then 𝐸𝐼𝐴 77-fold. Because 𝐸𝐼𝐴 spoke there, I killed a man for wounding me, even a young man for hurting me. If you go read there in verses 23. And he will take vengeance on them 77-fold. So we can see how this descent into further chaos. Total disregard for God's will, that you must not kill, you must not take life. And this was 𝐸𝐼𝐴. And now this develops even further, where the situation of the flood is described, for God to get rid of all this wickedness that's on the earth. So this is the story of Abel. He brought his offerings, the firstborn from the flock and the fat, and also Cain, who brought some of his fruit. He was a tiller of the soil, but he did it with a wrong attitude, and probably out of jealousy. He killed his brother. And this is part of the bigger story where God created order. Mankind, through their life and the choices they made, things started descending into chaos. And here we encounter the first murder, the first shedding of blood. And if you read in Genesis, this is a grave sin. Mankind must not shed blood. He must not kill his fellow human beings. But for us, the focus is on Abel and his offering, that he brought it out of a good heart. If you go read the Hebrews 11 verses 4, it refers to Abel as a righteous person. And that's what counts before God, is our offering must be done right. There also may be an allusion to the right of the firstborn, where firstborn have greater prominence. They would normally inherit everything at that stage. So Cain might have thought, look, I must get all the good things from God, even through my offering, whatever. I'm entitled to receive the best and blessings from God. And the story is also about, no, God doesn't look at those things and status. God looks at the attitude of the person who brings the offering.